Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, we're going to learn some beginner skills using Fusion 360. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing you want to do is to make sure that your data panel here is available. So click on your data panel. We're going to start a new project, okay, and we're going to just make a new project called IED files for this class. Okay, so go ahead and hit enter. And when you go ahead and make your project here, go ahead and click on it. And we're going to make a new folder and we're going to call it activity 4.1C. Hit enter. Okay, so now you have a folder, and go ahead and double click on that folder. So everything we now save will be saved in this folder. All right, and the next thing you want to do is come on over here to your account, and we're going to go down to preferences. Okay, and we are going to change our default units here. So click on default units and then come on down to design, and we're going to set them, make sure they say inches, and hit OK. Okay, and if you ever want to change them, you can come on over here to document settings. Okay, so if you click on this little arrow, you can change them. Click on that little icon right here, and you can change them to millimeters or whatever you want. Okay, I'm going to hit cancel. So the next thing you want to do is make sure your workspace here, we are in design mode. So we're designing things, right? And then next thing is come on up to file, and we're going to start a new design. Okay, and when we start a new design, we basically always start a 2D sketch first. So we make a 2D sketch first that we will eventually make 3D later. So let's go ahead now and click on create sketch, and I'm going to select the XY plane. And a couple things to note. If you use your mouse wheel, notice you can zoom in or out. Okay. What I recommend is when you use your orbit, when you do free orbit, so it's better than the constrained orbit in my opinion. So if you select free orbit, and if you hold down shift and you press your mouse wheel, you can move the object around. Okay. And then you click here back to front, and it will take you back to your default sort of location here. All right, and the next thing you can do is if you click on this little hand here, you can pan things, or you can just, like I said, compress your mouse wheel, and that is kind of the shortcut key. Okay. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is go ahead now and start making our 1-inch cube. So we can come on up here to our line tool, all right, and we can click right here at our origin, click, and just with our mouse, we're just going to drag up, okay, and there's a couple ways we can do this. All right, notice it's highlighted blue there. 0.831 there is highlighted blue. We can just type in 1 and then hit enter, and we have a 1-inch line. Okay. The other way, hit escape here. Actually, click on this line now and just hit delete. Let's do this again now. The other way is if we grab our line tool, okay, and we come on up, we can just make it, oh, I don't know, whatever distance we want it. Come on over here to our dimension tool, and then we can click on that guy and then drag our mouse out and make that 1 inch that way. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways we can get our size dimensions here. Okay, I'm going to hit escape now, and escape's your friend because it takes you out of whatever mode you're in. Okay, now the next thing is, so what I want you to do now is to make sure you have a 1-inch line here starting from the origin drawn perfectly vertical. Okay, now we're going to come back to our line tool here, and we're just going to kind of make some funky sort of shape here that looks something like that. And you're like, hey, Mr. Fuller, that's not a square, right? And that's okay. We're going to fix that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to apply some geometric constraints. And when we added this dimension here of 1, we added a dimension constraint. In other words, we made this line 1 inch, we locked it in. It cannot move. Okay, now we're going to add some what are called geometric constraints. So what I want to do now is do what's called a perpendicular constraint. Make something align 90 degrees to another line. Okay, so I can click on that line and I'll make it, if I click on this line, I'll make it 90 degrees to each other, or we say perpendicular or orthogonal. Okay, and we can do the same thing with this one. We can go here and here. Okay, and I'm going to hit escape. And the next thing we want to do is we want to make sure all of our lines here are 1 inch. Okay, and you can do that by coming here and you can dimension all of them okay, but I'm going to show you a different way. Okay, we can use what's called the equal constraint. We can make all of our lines equal to one another. So I'm going to click on that guy. I'm going to click on my 1-inch line, and I'm going to make it equal to that guy. Okay, I'm going to click this guy. I'm going to make it equal to that guy. That one equal to that guy. All right, so they're all the same length basically. And I'm going to hit escape now, and I am going to come up to my sketch dimension tool, and you'll see that, well, they're all, and you should get this error message, and that's okay. That just means it's over constrained. Okay, but you can check to make sure that they're all 1-inch. I'm going to hit escape. Okay, and they're all 1-inch. Okay, so before we proceed, it's important to make sure that every line here is 1-inch. Okay, all right, so now let's come on over here and we'll finish our sketch. And I'm going to hold down shift in my mouse wheel, and you guys can kind of see what that does. It sort of rotates our object, right? So I'm pressing the shift button and I'm holding down my mouse wheel and I'm moving my mouse at the same time, okay, to kind of rotate the object. Okay, so the next thing we want to do now is come up here to what's called extrude. Extrude will take our 2D object and make it 3D. So we're going to click on extrude, go there, type in 1, okay, and hit OK. All right, and there is our 1-inch cube. So when you're done, go up here and make sure you save it, and we can just call it 1-inch cube. Hit save. So once you've hit save, notice it now shows up in your data panel, okay, and it's located in activity 4.1c, okay, in your IED project. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and make sort of a hollow axle looking part, or a pipe looking object, if you will. And to do that, let's come on up to File and start a new design. So just like last time, before we make something 3D, we need to start off with a 2D sketch. So once again, let's come on up here and start a 2D sketch. We're going to click on the XY plane. Okay, I'm going to come on up here now to my circle drawing tool here, and I'm going to click on that guy. And I'm going to come back to my origin here. I'm going to drag out a circle, oh, yay big. And notice it says 1.121 in the highlighted blue section. And I can just type in 1, and now I have a 1-inch diameter circle. I'm going to do an edit undo real quick. And notice I can also do it a different way. I can just kind of go like that, come up to my dimension tool, click on it, drag my mouse out, click again, and then type in 1 and hit enter, and I can achieve the same result as last time. All right, I'm going to use my mouse wheel now and sort of zoom in here, and I'm going to hold down my mouse wheel. I'm going to press it to pan over. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and come back to my circle drawing tool here. I'm going to click here, and somewhere over here I'm just going to drag out a circle with a diameter of 0.75 inches and hit enter. Okay, and I'm going to come over here now to my constraints, that some of those constraints that we used last time. Okay, I'm going to make this circle concentric with this one. So I'm going to click on my concentric constraint. I'm going to click here. I'm going to make it concentric with this one. So I'm going to click here. Okay. And now I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to finish my sketch. And I'm going to come on over here now to extrude. And I'm going to click on this guy right here. Not this guy, but this guy. Okay. And we're going to make this axle length have a distance, or extrude it out a distance of 3 inches. Okay. Go ahead and select OK. You can see our distance here. Okay, and select OK. So this is important, so listen please, because you notice down here, you may have noticed this bar down here. This is your design history. It basically captures what you've been doing, right? So here's your sketch that you've drawn, and here's your extrusion. So what I want you to do now is, let's say you made a mistake and you meant to make that circle a different diameter. So we can right click on that sketch. So please do this. Right click, edit sketch, and go in and make it so that it has a diameter now of 1.25. So type in and type in that new dimension and hit enter. Okay, and to change the dimension, you just simply click on it, right? Or double click on it. Okay, so once again, now we can finish our sketch, and you notice now it has a thicker diameter. Okay, and now let's say you made a mistake and you didn't mean to extrude it 3 inches. So you can right click here, edit feature, and look at, you can say, oh, you know what, I didn't mean to make that 3 inches, I meant to make it 2.5. So please do that, type in 2.5 and hit OK. Okay, and then if you hit play, watch what happens. It shows your sketch. Okay, and it shows basically, like I said, your design history. And when you start designing more complicated or intricate things, you're going to have a long design history, and this, when you hit play, it's going to show you every step you made to create the object. All right, so now that we're done, let's go ahead now and make sure we save it. So we're going to come up to File, Save, and we'll just call it Hollow Axle and hit Save. And once again, you're going to notice that it shows up over here in our data panel. Okay, and if you don't want it there, you can always X out of it and show it. Okay, and the last item we're going to make is a sphere. So to do that, once again, you may have guessed, come on up to File, and we're going to start yet another new design. And like we did before we can make something 3D, we always need to start by making something 2D. And to do that, we need to draw things. So we need to create a 2D sketch here. So we're going to click here, and I'm going to click on the XY plane. Okay. Now we're going to come over here and we're going to grab our line tool again, and we're going to start at our origin, and we're just going to drag a line up a distance of 1 inch. So I'm just going to drag it up perfectly vertical, straight up, click, grab my dimension tool, click on the line, and drag my mouse out, and then click again and type in 1. Okay. I'm going to hit escape now to take it out of dimension mode. And now I'm going to come to create, and listen carefully now. We're going to come on down to arc, and we're going to select a 3-point arc. And arcs are a little tricky to make, so listen please. So when you make an arc, you need to click twice, the start and the end position of the arc. So I'm going to click once here, and then I want to click where I want my other end of my arc to end, and that's right there. So I'm going to click there, okay, my second click, and then I'm going to drag my mouse out something like, I don't know, like that. Okay, and I'm going to come on up now to dimension, and I'm going to use my mouse wheel quick just to kind of zoom in here, and I'm going to click on my arc. Okay, I almost said circle, but it's an arc. I'm going to click, drag my mouse out, and click again, and I'm going to type in the distance of 0.5. Okay, so we're going to give our arc a radius, because when you dimension arcs, you always dimension them based on the radius. Okay, and I'm going to hit enter. Okay, all right, I'm going to go ahead now and finish my sketch. You should do the same. And now we're going to do something else. Notice the difference. If we extrude this thing, okay, we can also drag it out. Look what we get. Look at the feature that we get. Okay, but we're not going to extrude this, so we're going to hit cancel. We're going to use a different feature called revolve. Okay, so what this will do is it'll take our 2D sketch and it revolves it around an axle. So we're going to use this as our axle, or our center axle. Okay, so we're going to click revolve, and it's saying, hey, your profile, it already selected it for us. One selected, so it selected this blue portion. Now it's saying, hey, select that axis you want to revolve around. And now we got to click on the axis, which is right there. Okay, and we're going to go, now notice we can change the degrees here. We can do, oh, let's do, let's do 270. And you can see what it does, right? And you're like, nah, let's just go with, we're making a sphere, right? So we're going to do 360. Okay, and then hit OK. Okay, and there is our super cool MC Escher sphere looking thing, right? All right, so it's important to note, remember down here, if I want to make some changes, I could go back in and make some changes by right clicking and editing the sketch, okay? Or editing my center revolve, right? I could have said, hey, let's just go 180 degrees here and do a half circle, right? And there's my half circle, but I don't want that. We want to make a sphere, okay? Another couple things to note. I can turn off the visibility of the sketches, okay? So I can click right here and I can turn it on. So I see the visibility of the sketch, that eye, and I can see that sketch that I drew right there, okay? Or I can make it invisible, right? Same with bodies. Bodies in Fusion 360 are three-dimensional objects. So once again, I can make it invisible or visible by selecting this eyeball here, okay? All right, and now that we're done, remember, Fusion 360 is cloud-based, but it will not save automatically for you. So you got to come on up here and make sure that you're saving your work. And it's always a good idea to save periodically. Okay, so go ahead and select save, and we'll call this one sphere. Okay, hit save. You could have also called it ball bearing or any other sort of cool name. All right. All right, that will do it for this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.